Hi, Tahir. Thank you so much for joining LEOS on air. Of course, we all know your contribution. You've been a very integral part of Dubai's real estate market.
Thank you.
We would love to hear from you about your entire journey.
First of all, thank you for having me over. I've been into real estate for as long as I remember. I've been in Dubai now for about over 10 years. Been doing real estate. Even back in India, I used to do real estate.
Lovely.
And I've been visiting Dubai since a very long time, since 2005. I used to come here very often. That's how I fell in love with the city. And then when I got a chance to move, I eventually made the move. So, Dubai is now home. And I feel, it's one of the most, I would say, interesting real estate markets of the world.
Of course.
Yes.
We would love to go through certain pointers.
Sure.
So, of course, we all know Dubai. It has now become an affordable, addictive home for all of us.
Yes.
So, what still keeps Dubai as a region still special amongst the real estate market as compared to the major cities?
See, first of all, the way this city is built, I think this is one of the newest cities of the world. It's extremely well planned. The infrastructure is amazing. And also what really makes this place special is the people over here. So
Exactly.
you have over 190 nationalities living peacefully over here. That really makes this place really special. And also, location wise, we are, probably we're in less than 8 hours of flying time from 2/3 of the world's population. So
Geographically very well placed.
Very well placed, and we have some amazing airlines here, which connect the world to Dubai very seamlessly.
That's great. So how do you think that investors, since inception, have always had an ease into their, future vision for the long run?
See, what has happened is, the Dubai Land Department has made the whole process of buying a property or owning a property very seamless and very efficient. I think it's probably one of the most, easiest process of buying a property around the globe. I haven't come across any other city of this stature which
With
has
less complexity.
Less complexity. Yes. So one is that. Now, obviously, this hasn't happened overnight. It's been a progress of the past 20 years, where every few months we see the Dubai Land Department coming up with some of the new regulations, new initiatives, which obviously are a good thing for the investor. Like today, we have data on open platform. You can see the transactions. The title deeds are all digital. You can verify a title deed or a OCUD without anyone telling you whether it is real or fake. So all these things have made a lot of things easier, and the processes are quite simple as compared to a lot of other places.
Yes.
And I feel they're going more and more digital and more easy, and trying to make all the processes more seamless day by day.
I think, yes, of course, we've always been way ahead in terms
Yes.
of innovation digitally.
Absolutely.
And that has really helped real estate a lot as
Yes.
well. That being said, as Dubai is still developing at the moment, we still do consider Dubai as affordable as compared to major other cities.
Yes.
So what are your feedback on that?
Look, if you asked me this a few years back, 3, 4 years, 5 years back, Dubai was way more affordable than what it is today, especially in terms of property prices. Yes, prices have gone up, but still, we are still way more affordable than a lot of places around the world. Especially when you compare to cities which come at par. Now if you're comparing, a tier 2 or tier 3 city somewhere else in the world, that doesn't really.
It's not an apple to apple comparison.
It's not an apple to an apple comparison. So if you compare that way, Dubai is still fairly affordable. And I feel that with the new areas coming up, affordability will remain. Of course, it won't be at the same prices what it used to be 5 years back. Okay, and considering inflation and globally prices have gone up for everything, that obviously will make an impact. But still, I feel properties, you can still find affordable properties in Dubai. And also, we need to see that what you get for what you pay,
Value for money.
money is still there.
So, of course, since the last 5 years, we've already seen ourselves develop quite a bit.
Yes.
So, what do you foresee as the future vision for real estate in the region?
The future of Dubai, we all know there's already the Vision 2040 of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the ruler of Dubai. And if you, read that carefully, one, we are looking at doubling the population by 2040, which obviously is a great thing for real estate, because if you are targeting, people coming into the city, you need more houses, so that is one great thing. Infrastructure, if you see, is, we have now the new metro line coming in, the blue metro line already announced. So we'll have more metros coming in throughout the city, more greenery all around, though it's, a difficult thing to do that in the desert.
Dubai.
Yeah, in Dubai, but still the government's doing an amazing job with that. So I see, the city is going to go through massive growth in the next 15, 20 years. People, always keep saying, why is Dubai building so much and all? But then you see, they've been building now since 20 years and they keep building and people keep coming. So, that's the goal, to have more people live and call this city their home. So that 100% in the next, 15, 20 years, you'll see way more things happening over here.
Well said, and I totally agree, because just since the first quarter of the year 2024, we've already seen just a speck of that increase in population, and it's a very niche crowd that we're also seeing.
Absolutely.
So yes, I totally agree. So what are the major prime upcoming locations that you will suggest for any first-time buyers here in Dubai?
There are a lot of locations which are coming up, but if you see, every location has its own pros and cons. Okay, if someone's looking for affordable apartments, I think JVC still is one of my favorite areas, for any investor or even end user. A lot of end users also who live in JVC and they love JVC. Maidan is coming up really well. Maidan as a whole community and district has really become
maturing very fast.
Yes. Places such as Dubai Land, Dubai South with the new airport coming. These areas are, coming up really well. There are a lot of prime areas which are already established. But then if you really want growth, it's these areas where people will
These areas where you can definitely put your money as a first-time buyer.
Yes.
And you don't see a regret on the investment. Okay. So what do you think are some of the major aspects that somebody should consider whilst they actually purchase a property? It may be ready or on plan.
See, one is, most important is the layout and the quality. Not everything which you see in Dubai would probably, it probably is not, not every layout is a great layout. You have some very nice looking buildings from the outside, but when you go inside, you realize the apartments are not really that great. So you have to make sure that the layouts are really good. The quality is really, is very important, because you don't want to buy a property that, 5 years down the line, it becomes outdated and people are not really interested in buying that or renting that. So, good quality, good finishes. This is something which is very, very important. On top of that, yes, location is also
plays a part of the entire
you need to make sure you understand your community well before you buy or invest. So I think these things are very important.
Well, I totally agree when it comes in terms of quality, because I think recently we also had Dubai Land Department regularize that a certain zone will only be giving a certain ROI, which is perfectly parallelly determined by the quality of the certain building.
Absolutely.
Yes. So unfortunately, we had one of a natural disasters, we would call it, the rains and then a little bit of floods. But how do you think Dubai recouped over the entire scenario, and what are your comments on it?
I mean, look, first of all, we live in times where social media has made things look very different than the reality. Okay, and it goes both ways, good, bad, both ways.
True.
Right now, yes, there was a storm, and there's no denial. Most of the major roads were flooded. But eventually, it's, if it rains equivalent to 3 years of rain in 12 hours, I don't think any place in the world, forget Dubai, any place in the world cannot handle that.
Exactly.
Right? We've seen flooding happen, and global warming, because of global warming, flooding happening at a lot of other places. And I mean, of course, it's not something we want to happen, but it happened. And I think the way Dubai, or UAE in general has handled the whole situation, I think that's amazing, because in the next 2-3 days, after 3 days, you couldn't say
back
that
to normal,
it
like
was back to
nothing
normal
happened.
and nothing happened, and everything was operational. And yes, I mean, and also the kind of incentives and the measures the government took immediately, to give relief to people.
80
That
billion worth of the drainage system.
Drainage
to be
system, not
improved.
plus, even like, for example, if your car is damaged and you have a car loan going on, you can defer the loan for 6 months, things like that, which
Yes.
The government stepped.
A lot of flexibility
to help people
residents.
in general, to cope up with whatever damages have happened. So I think they handled it very well, and this was once in 75 years, something like that. So I think it was one event which we all saw, and it happened.
Well, this has been instigating a little bit of hesitation when it comes to investors, especially overseas, where they weren't part of the reality which happened here. So, what would you like to say in a statement
I mean,
to
look,
them?
investors need to think about the long term, first of all, and this is a one-off event. Like I had this discussion the other day with someone, and I said, look, for instance, in the summers, we see temperatures of 45 degrees as an average over here, but we all live very comfortably. Why? Because we are all equipped to handle that heat. Okay, there's air conditioning everywhere. Even the bus stops have ACs.
Exactly, metros,
everything
everywhere.
is fair. Yes, you don't really get out in the heat because it's too hot, and etc. etc. Now, same way you go to Europe, okay, and if you go there in the summers, and if the temperature becomes even 35, 36 degrees, they are not really able to handle that, right? So, investors need to think, as a region, it doesn't rain over here. Now, and a natural calamity can happen anywhere in the world.
Anywhere,
okay,
anytime.
it's in nobody's hands, right? So it was one thing, and look at the way it was handled. I would tell investors that you should be more confident on the buy, because the way they handled it shows you how efficient and how capable they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We as an entity are fully operational and functional.
Exactly.
Back in no time, which
Absolutely.
I'm sure is pretty commendable. And I also think this will be probably the last question to you. So we see a lot of these, budding young millionaires and billionaires, and they always have this fantasy to, yes, I want to own a property in Dubai. So we do have a lot of regulations in terms of off-plan properties, like the escrow account, where everything is transparent, digitally, hassle-free. So what is your comment? Like, what would you ask them to invest in? Maybe apartments, plots?
See, this obviously depends on every individual's need. When it comes to investment, I always tell people that you have to have a goal for the investment, right? Just because I tell you or someone tells you this is a good investment,
It's
you don't
not the
invest in it, right? Depends on what your goal is. If your goal is ROI, that you want a property which is always rented, you get good rent, then the type of property is different. If you want a property which you want to buy today and probably sell in 3 years, then the property is different. If you
Depends
want
on
to,
the timeline
it depends on the
as well.
timeline, what their goals
Right.
are. If they say, listen, I want to just buy a property where I can come and use it as a holiday home, rest of the time I rent, then it's a different
Ballgame
type of
altogether.
property altogether. So it depends on the type of property and the goal mainly. I think, look, people have made money in all types of properties, whether they bought apartments, they bought villas, they bought townhouses, they bought plots, whatever. They made money if they bought the right thing, right?
True.
I can show you examples of some apartments where, even though the markets have done so well in the last 5 years, those projects have not really performed. And on the other hand, I can show you some projects which have performed really well because they were the right choice. So it also depends.
Right choice at the right time also.
Right
I
time,
guess.
choice,
With the correct guidance, of course,
Exactly.
from experts like you.
I feel that's very important. So anybody who's investing, my first question is, what's the goal?
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Of course, we are a big fan of your entire
Thank you so much.
guidance, your consultants in terms of the advice in terms of reality that you give to your customers.
Thanks.
And of course, thank you so much for
it's
being
my
here once
pleasure.
again. We would love to have a long-term relationship.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks.